The questioners last week of special counsel Robert Mueller. Congressman, let me ask you, we know, based on what you've told us, John Ratcliffe has told us, Jim Jordan, over the last year and a half, that this investigation by the FBI likely started at the end of 2015. We know that at the end of 2015, going into 2016, there were very suspicious informant-type situations going on. And yet, in the testimony, you mentioned to Mueller that somebody dropped $10,000 in George Papadopoulos' lap. But that was during the special counsel, which means that was in 2017. They were still trying to entrap people even during the special counsel's investigation?
Well, we don't know the answer to that because Mueller wouldn't answer the question. So you're right. So in the last segment, I talked about General Flynn. Some Brits dirtied him up, claiming that he had a Russian girlfriend, right? So these were former intelligence guys. A historian went public. This is why they were investigating Flynn, back in 2015. Then if you move into 2016, someone started setting up these, so-called events or symposiums that it just so happened to be that all of these people got invited to. Now, you're going to have George Papadopoulos on earlier, which this is another track where you had a foreign politician named Alexander Downer, who still is unclear because he claims he didn't ask about emails. Papadopoulos said he didn't talk about emails, but yet somehow the FBI uses Papadopoulos to open the investigation, and then they continue to ask Papadopoulos about emails all through the rest of 2016. But Downer never said anything about emails. So, this is another thing that Mueller couldn't answer this week. So now when you look at what they did in 2017, after the special counsel was set up, somebody gave Papadopoulos $10,000. And it was odd that, just a week before they arrested him at the Dulles airport. Now, remember, Papadopoulos had been cooperating with the investigation. He had went through several interviews in the early parts of 2017. So none of this makes any sense. And it really looks like the Mueller team, remember, I call it the Mueller dossier. Mueller clearly wasn't involved in this. But look, this is nothing more, nothing less than a cover-up, okay? But, why would you not, you write a whole report on Natalia Vesnitskaya. You mention her 65 times in the report, okay? She's a Russian. She met with the Trump team one time for less than 20 minutes, okay? She met with Glenn Simpson, who was running the dirty operations arm for the Clinton campaign, at least 3 times. My guess is multiple times, maybe dozens of times.
Right.
So you don't have that in there. You put it in a report, but you don't talk about it. So there's so much in that Mueller report. It really just looks like a gloss over and a cover-up.
Yeah. Well, clearly, as we have learned more and more, they use George Papadopoulos and also Carter Page as windows into the Trump campaign. And with Papadopoulos, they used this whole idea that somebody told him that Russia had Hillary Clinton's emails, and that because he was told that they tried to play it that he was part of a conspiracy. This is what I want to know, and I think this is what our viewers want to know. In your view, based on all of your work over the last 3 years, who is the mastermind of this story? Who is the mastermind of the plan to insert Donald Trump into Russia meddling, which we know Russia has been meddling for decades?
Well, I think we can say let's talk about what we know are facts, what we can say for certain. I think that's helpful. We know the Clinton campaign, number one, so they're aware of a lot of this, right? They're involved in the creation of the dossier. They're hiring Fusion GPS. They hire Christopher Steele. That's a fact. So the Clinton campaign's involved. We know the FBI is involved to some degree. We don't know exactly what they were doing before July 31st, 2016. Why? Because they wouldn't answer the questions that we had over the last 2 years. And in fact, when we were getting close, we wanted transcripts. There were things that we wanted. Those were not given to the United States House of Representatives under Republican control. You know why? Because the Mueller dossier team wouldn't let us have them. So that's why I say somebody needs to look at these characters that were on the team. I think they obstructed justice. They obstructed a congressional investigation. So that's number two. We have the Clinton team. We have the FBI. There's also a third team that we know of. That is this Cambridge team, this group of British people. that were there, these intelligence-related folks, including the American citizen Stephen Schrage, who organized this event. They were involved in the character assassination of a 3-star general, the former head of the director of intelligence, General Michael Flynn. So those are the 3 entities that we know, and I think what the DOJ needs to get to the bottom of is, when did these all intersect? You don't get that until you start to interview people, and remember, the Mueller team never bothered to interview many of these folks.
Real quick, we got to jump, but is it more likely that the CIA would integrate all of these international sources across the world, or the FBI? CIA or FBI, in terms of getting all of these intel associates like the Downers of the world and Misfas of the world together?
Well, as you know, we have jurisdiction over both FBI and CIA and what they do overseas. We have lots of information of FBI people going overseas and doing things. We don't really have any information from CIA. So far, they've really come clean. I would say the only one that has questions to answer is John Brennan, because we now know that John Brennan briefed Harry Reid on the dossier in August of 2016. At the same time, he never briefed me or Paul Ryan, who was the Speaker of the House at the time.
Yep. Well, we keep peeling back the onion and learning more and more. Congressman, it's good to have you on the program. Thanks very much.